He ruled over a vast criminal network and smuggled tons of cocaine into the United States. He bribed, killed, and terrorized anyone WHO stood in his way. He was Pablo Escobar, the boss of bosses. In this video, we will explore the rise and fall of the most notorious drug lord in history, from his humble origins in rural Colombia to his spectacular death in a rooftop shootout with police. We will also examine the legacy of his violence and corruption, and the impact of his drug empire on Colombia and the world. This is the story of Pablo Escobar, the king of cocaine. Pablo Escobar was born on December 1, 1949, in a small town called Rio Negro, near Medellin, Colombia. He was the third of 7 children of Abel de Jesus Dari Escobar and Gemilda de los Dolores Gaviria. His father was a farmer and his mother was a school teacher. He came from a poor family and had a hard childhood. He had to drop out of school because his family couldn't afford to pay for his education. He felt ashamed and angry about his situation and wanted to change it. He was very ambitious and wanted to be rich and powerful. He did have some legal jobs in his life, but they were not enough to satisfy his greed and ambition. He worked as a street vendor, selling cigarettes, lottery tickets, and magazines. He also worked as a bodyguard for a local smuggler named Alvaro Prieto. He even tried to be a car dealer, but he was actually stealing cars and reselling them. He was not interested in these jobs for long. He wanted to make more money and faster. He saw the drug trade as the perfect opportunity to do that. He joined forces with his cousin Gustavo Gaviria, who was already involved in the cocaine business. They started to buy coca paste from Peru and Bolivia, and process it into cocaine in their own laboratories. They then shipped it to the United States, where there was a huge market for it. They made millions of dollars from this operation, and soon became the leaders of the Medellin cartel. He did not think of earning money by working like any other man. He was always looking for shortcuts and easy ways to get rich. He did not care about the law or the consequences of his actions. He only cared about himself and his family. He married Maria Victoria Heno when he was 27 and she was 15. They had 2 children, Juan Pablo and Manuela. He loved his family and wanted to give them a better life than he had. He also wanted to help the poor people of Medellin, who suffered from poverty, violence, and corruption. He felt that the government and the elites ignored them and exploited them. He wanted to be their leader and their protector. Pablo Escobar was not only a drug lord, but also a politician and a social leader. He used his money and power to influence politics and society in Colombia. He had a dream of becoming the president of Colombia someday, and he tried to achieve it by any means necessary. He entered politics in the 1970s and supported the formation of the Liberal Party of Colombia. In 1982, he was elected as an alternate member of the Chamber of Representatives, which gave him parliamentary immunity and a diplomatic passport. He used his political position to lobby against the extradition treaty with the United States, which he feared would send him to jail. He also used his political influence to bribe, threaten, or kill anyone who opposed him or his cartel. He also tried to win the hearts and minds of the people, especially the poor people of Medellin. He spent millions of dollars on social projects, such as building houses, schools, hospitals, football fields, and churches for the poor communities in Medellin. He also donated money and food to the needy, and organized parties and events for them. He became known as the Pacer Robin Hood, or the patron of the poor, because he took from the rich and gave to the poor. Many people loved him and saw him as a hero and a savior. That's how Pablo Escobar used his money and power to influence politics and society in Colombia. He wanted to be seen as a legitimate leader and a benevolent benefactor. But he also caused a lot of violence, corruption, and terror in his country and beyond. Pablo Escobar was not only a drug lord, but also a warlord. He waged a war against his enemies, both inside and outside Colombia. He did not hesitate to use violence, terror, and corruption to achieve his goals. He also faced a lot of resistance and opposition from those who wanted to stop him and his cartel. He had many enemies who wanted to take him down. The Colombian government and the United States were constantly trying to arrest him and extradite him to face justice in the US. They formed a special task force called the Search Bloc, which was composed of Colombian police, military, and US agents. They also offered a reward of $10 million for information leading to his capture. He also had rival drug cartels who wanted to take over his territory and business. The most powerful one was the Cali Cartel, which was based in the city of Cali, Colombia. The Cali Cartel was more discreet and sophisticated than the Medellin Cartel, and had connections with the Colombian political and economic elites. The Cali Cartel formed an alliance with other enemies of Escobar, such as the MAS, Death to Kidnappers, a group of wealthy landowners who opposed Escobar's kidnappings, and the Pepes, people persecuted by Pablo Escobar, a vigilante group of former associates and victims of Escobar. They also collaborated with the Search Bloc and the US authorities to hunt down Escobar. Escobar fought back by ordering the murders of hundreds of people who opposed him or got in his way. He also bombed planes, buildings, and public places, killing innocent civilians. He was responsible for some of the worst acts of terrorism in Colombia's history. Some of his most notorious attacks include the Avianca Flight 203 bombing in 1989, which killed 107 people on board and 3 on the ground. Escobar targeted the flight because he believed that presidential candidate Cesar Gaviria was on board, but he survived because he changed his travel plans at the last minute. The Das building bombing in 1989, which killed 52 people and injured more than 1,000. Escobar targeted the building because it housed the headquarters of the Colombian intelligence agency, which was involved in the fight against him. The Supreme Court siege in 1985, which killed 115 people, including 11 Supreme Court judges. Escobar supported a leftist guerrilla group called the M19, which stormed the Supreme Court building to destroy evidence against Escobar and other drug traffickers who were facing extradition trials. The La Catedral prison escape in 1992, which triggered a nationwide manhunt for Escobar. Escobar surrendered to the authorities in 1991 after negotiating a deal with President Gaviria. He agreed to serve a 5-year sentence in his own prison that he built himself. The prison was called La Catedral, and it was more like a luxury hotel than a jail. He had all kinds of amenities and comforts there, such as a jacuzzi, a soccer field, a bar, and a disco. He also continued to run his drug business from there. However, when the government tried to move him to another prison in 1992, he escaped and went into hiding. That's how Pablo Escobar waged a war against his enemies and how he met his downfall. Pablo Escobar was not only a warlord, but also a fugitive. He was on the run from his enemies, both inside and outside Colombia. He did not have many places to hide or many people to trust. He also faced a lot of challenges and dangers in his life on the lam. He was also isolated from his family and friends, who were either killed, arrested, or betrayed him. He could not contact his wife, Maria Victoria Heno, or his children, Juan Pablo and Manuela, who had fled to different countries to seek asylum. He could not rely on his former partners or allies, who either turned against him or cooperated with the authorities. He could only trust a few loyal bodyguards, such as Alvaro de Jesus Agudelo, known as El Limon, who stayed with him until the end. He was finally tracked down and killed on December 2, 1993, one day after his 44th birthday. He was hiding in a middle-class neighborhood in Medellin, where he made a phone call to his son Juan Pablo. The call was intercepted by a Colombian electronic surveillance team, who alerted the search bloc. They surrounded the house where Escobar was staying and raided it. Escobar and El Limon tried to escape through the rooftops, but they were shot by the search bloc officers. Escobar died from gunshots to the leg, torso, and a fatal shot through the ear. That's how Pablo Escobar's life ended on a rooftop in Medellin. I hope you found this video informative. What do you think of his life and legacy? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. And if you want to see more videos about history, crime, and culture, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon to get notified when I upload a new video. Thank you for watching and I will see you next time. Peace out.